What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel here. Let's talk about the labor potions, the economy, what's going on here with Archeworld and the BSLT price. So I think there's some very clear reasons why, if you've been following the labor potion market, that the price of these things are starting to go up. So the same amount of labor potions are being sold per day, generally. You can see the volume down here hasn't changed, but the prices are starting to creep up some. Yesterday we saw as high as 9.3 BSLT. The day before we saw as 9.4 BSLT. The day before that 9.1 BSLT. The day before that 7 BSLT as the high point, and so forth. So you can see this just big upward trajectory that is starting to happen. You can start to see it on the graph up here as well. And I think the reasons are very, very simple. And a lot has to do with the new whale in the server. With the transfer of the tier 6 weapons and armors, that person has now appeared and is now buying up the auction house at certain points of time. So say he wants to, feed his weapons or armors, make them a little bit stronger with Archeum, or he wants to upgrade his cloak or do things like that. Any kind of activity in game, he's going to need a bunch of labor, and he's just simply going to go and buy every single thing on the auction house. When he goes and buys 300 labor potions at one time, he is going to increase the price dramatically, pretty much buying out the auction house. We saw the same kind of thing happen with the honor tokens, that you'll notice that there's a huge spread on the honor token prices, the chest. So it went all the way from like 8 BSLT up to 40 BSLT, 10 to 29, and then 12 to 16 for the current day. So the reason you see these massive spreads, again, is just the whale not caring about what the thing costs. They just want as many tokens as they could get. He is slowing down, obviously, now because his cloak has reached at, I believe it's rank 13 or so right now. So he does not really need much more honor tokens, or is kind of done upgrading. But we did see that happen with labor as well. He was also using tons and tons of labor potions. But there's also another very big reason why the labor potion market is going to increase. A lot less of the small lands are being rented. If we look outside in the world map, we can see that there's a lot of open plots around in the world. So XL Games plots like standards, these are all open. There's a whole bunch of others, especially in zones like this. This is Sunbite Wilds. So in zones that are not like as in desired popular, there's a lot of small land that is available, especially on server 1. I don't know the exact amount of land that is available on server 2 for North America, but on server 1 you see a lot of small lands that are open and available. With less people using and putting down tents on small lands, that increases the value of labor, because labor generally comes from these small lands. Small lands produce a lot of labor. They produce a very small amount of Archeum, and the bigger the house you get, the more Archeum is produced and the less labor is actually produced, because you're using that labor to actually spend on making that Archeum. And at a certain point, it ends up becoming a negative labor amount. Like, so if you have a house and you have all these machines upgraded to tier 2, then you're actually losing labor every single day by processing all these machines. So each machine will at that point spend around 1,000 labor per day. And so that's a total of 3,000 labor, and your bed, if it's not upgraded, will only generate you around 2,000 labor per day. So that means you're going to be at a negative 1,000 labor per day unless you upgrade your bed or have other houses, tents that will be producing labor. So we're starting to see a lot more upgraded Archeum machines, which are pushing up the labor prices. And then again, we're also seeing less and less people renting small lands. As the labor price goes up, I do expect more and more people to start renting these small lands again, because they're like, hey, I can make a bunch of money by having a small land. It's worthwhile to actually do and to rent those lands. So I do think the cycle continues where the prices start to go up a little bit more on labor potions, and then at a certain point, they start to decrease once again, because more people are like, hey, there's land, I can go and make some profit on this, and it's a cool supply and demand cycle. What also might be happening too is people are potentially preparing for an upcoming event that will burn a lot of labor. So if we see any kind of new coin purse dropping or a new recipe or crafting thing that is going to require a bunch of labor, which some people have suggested that we have in game, and the XL Games has done something like that on the Asian server, then these labor potions can greatly spike up. Like if you are spending, thousands and thousands of labors to do a craft, and you need to do this, hundreds of times, it's very easy to spend a lot of labor at that cost. So we'll see what happens, but it does look like labor is slowly increasing. We are no longer down in the low twos. It's no longer down, nearing that 1.5 range. It does look like that labor points are going to become a little bit more valuable, and things will have to be adjusted for. Like all your calculations need to be adjusted to make sure that you're spending your labor wisely and properly to earn enough to justify using that said labor. But again, everything is always ever changing. Same thing with the BSLT. The BSLT price is also ever changing, and currently today I think we're right around 25 cents. So the price is slowly creeping downwards, and I do expect more downward pressure on the BSLT price as we enter June. We have a lot of negative catalysts coming up, especially the BSLT tickets from this last event. All that BSLT will be awarded to the players, so there's going to be an influx of BSLT there. And then June also marks a brand new month, so XL Games can go ahead and sell all of their profits, or most of their profits, from the prior month, from May. And so now they're going to be selling tokens, and then we're also getting closer and closer to the 1-year lockup period. We don't know exactly when the lockup period ends for investors or deals that they have made with employees and benefactors of the game. So there's going to be a bunch of tokens, and I think selling pressure will continue to increase. And the only way that they can keep this up is if people are buying the token off of the Bora portal. To do that, you have to have demand. So they need new content. We are still stagnant with little to no new content, and people are getting antsy and want something new and fresh. Whether it's a new raid or rift or the ocean content, which we have expectations for that to come in a couple of months. But is that soon enough? I'd say no. So hopefully we do get something. We do know there's this thing called charms that are potentially coming. We don't know when. So we'll have to see what actual content, if any, does come in the month of June, and that could potentially help the price. Also, a new Arc Pass in the North America server. Players are out of Arc Passes if they've been doing them. There needs to be kind of more Arc Passes for the North American players. Like the Arc Pass only lasts 14 days if you do it constantly every single day, and we've only had 2 in the last beginning of the game and this month. So there is just a lax of things to spend your BSLT on. So if they give us a really good Arc Pass that lasts 30 days, or multiple Arc Passes that last 30 days, reasons to stake. Also, once houses become more valuable, right? If labor potions go up and if Arceum goes up, then more and more people will be inclined to actually rent the larger houses as well. So the larger houses generally, like I said, produce more Arceum. The smaller houses produce more labor. So it all depends. And if labor is needed, then a lot of the smaller houses are going to be gobbled up and taken from the world. If Arceum is needed and more valuable, then more of the larger houses, in my opinion, get taken up and start to be used more often. And so really they want to increase both labor and Arceum prices in the world. More demand for both of those items will generate more income and profit for everyone all around, and just help the entire game economy, in my opinion. So those are my thoughts on this. Let me know what you think. Do you think the price will continue to go down? I do think that the BSLT price is going to continue to go down. I do think that we might see about 20 cents in the coming weeks. So unless they do something crazy, right? There could be some big events. There could be some big reason where people need BSLT. But as of now, I do see that we're going to probably decrease down to 20 cents. And if you are, an investor and kind of like trying to play the ups and downs, I would really consider thinking what you think is going to happen in the future. Do you think it is going to go down to 20 cents? And if you really do believe this is like the time I think you cash out, right? You cash out, and then like buy back at 20 cents, or even if it goes down lower, if it goes down to 15 cents, you're like, okay, I can buy back in then. But obviously, you have to try and predict the future. No one knows the future, and hence why it's called predicting and making educated guesses and judgments on these things. And so you literally just have to do what makes you happy, because again, no one knows the future. So me personally, I'm still reinvesting. I don't care about the price per se of the token. I plan on playing Archeworld for many, many years in the future. So at this point, really, the price does not matter to me. Like, I'm upgrading my Archean machines. I'm upgrading my character, building up for 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now in the future, when then I will be able to cash out, hopefully a considerable amount of money at that point. And if not, I've had fun along the way. So that's my thoughts on the matter. I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. As always, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one.